another edition of Dish and Ish. I'm Ravi Lulla. That is Damon Benning, old DB.
What up?
How you doing, man?
Well, the voice is a little sus.
You're
but
hanging on by a thread with the voice.
By a thread, man. Shane, who sings that? Hanging on by a thread. One of those freaking grunge. I don't know they're not grunge or indie.
Emo? Talking about emo?
Every time I see that, I always think the weird
Taylor.
Here you go. I just got here. The weird TikToks where it says emo blank, and I was like, what is emo short for?
Emotional.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's because it's like,
dude, I was today years old.
Yeah, so it's.
Did you know that, Shane?
No, I did not know that.
I shouldn't even ask you.
Yeah, so it's like.
How'd you know that? Did you see that on Jeopardy?
No, because I grew up in like that era where it became a thing in the early to mid 2000s.
Who was the cartoon lady that had the dark hair, Shane, and the big wire rim glasses? Was it Laura?
I don't know.
Okay, you guys are killing me. Too many I don't knows already. I'm the one that's not supposed to know anything.
I wasn't really big into cartoons. I didn't watch a lot of cartoons.
I thought you were like Bobby McFerrin. Aren't you the don't worry, be happy guy? Like you can't even watch sad movies.
I can watch sad movies. I just don't want to feel down the entire time I'm watching.
No Denny Downer for you?
Like the Joker, for instance. Like that movie.
Why so serious?
No, not that Joker. The Joaquin.
Oh yeah, that was disturbing. Shane, we got a sequel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's a tough watch.
No, it's
like
fantastic.
It's really well made and really well acted. Like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying it is not the most pleasant way to spend a couple hours.
Hey, full disclosure.
Yeah.
I went to that movie, $5 Tuesday.
Yeah.
With the worst person when you want to double down on doom and gloom.
Okay.
Who would that person be?
The worst person.
Like if you don't want to be happy about anything and be a total grumble bug, who would compound going to see the Joker?
I'm going to get in trouble here.
It's easy. When I say it, you're going to be like, oh yeah.
Is it Sauter?
No. Good guess. Good guess.
Okay.
Another complainer.
Who do we got?
Michael Severe.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
You're right. Right. I should have.
And
I should have known.
He left that movie thinking it was the greatest. Like it was Scorsese.
Because he loves being miserable.
He just can he's for a kind of a guy that can be miserable.
Yeah.
He's an empath.
Yeah.
He can he has this innate ability to feel what you're feeling. And he gets to decide whether he wants to give in to it or not.
Yeah.
He can tell you to toughen up, Buttercup, or he can say, hey, man, you good?
Well, I think he said he's turned into a little bit of a crier, too.
So,
you a good
right?
Full disclosure.
So those are kind of like wild ends of the spectrum.
Full disclosure. Once a week, the last month, he checks in and he says, are you good?
Yeah.
How are you? The very first time he asked me, I said, what would make you? I said, what tipped you off to checking in on me? He said, I just happened to catch, a show.
Yeah.
And you were giving some one-word answers. You didn't seem to be all in.
Sure. Okay.
And I was like, air dap, air high five. I was like, probably a lot going on, right? I mean, whatever. But so it was like,
I don't know what happened there. Seriously.
I
was trying to edit something.
The look that Damon just gave Shane.
Like, what are we on? What are we doing? I don't know. Oh, here we see. Listen, that's how you know he misses me. Because I feel like he's kind of picking on me. But keep in mind, I just got here and I wasn't looking for a job when I got this one. So if you want to get choked out and have me be out and you're like, damn, man, ODB is a good guy, man. Who's bailing him out? I would lose my job over you acting like this. My voice sucks. My alarm goes off at 4:10.
That's early.
Yeah. And we're going 2 days too. So I'm back at the school at 2:30.
You getting a little nap in or anything? Or you just
I don't nap during the day.
Okay.
I don't nap during the day. We usually either not game plan. We practice plan.
Yeah.
or
What
without the kids being in school
Mhm.
and Jay being back at the high school because she's admin.
Mhm.
I parent.
There you go.
what song went off when your alarm went off?
Collide. It's a song. You and I collide.
I love how Shane just sets himself up for the jokes.
Yeah, just
He doesn't even wait for an opportunity. He's like, I'm gonna shoehorn this in here.
I'm not real happy with him right now, but it's okay, man.
I
It's
would be
okay.
getting up out of bed and turning that off if I heard that.
So, like, it is cool though. I do like being back,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I mean, that's a positive that you miss it a little bit.
yeah, like I need to. I like to stay busy,
Yeah, absolutely.
and full disclosure, like tomorrow, it's Friday. Like, what would I do? Because we'll go back to afternoon practice, but all the kids go back to school in the house, so I'm up anyway.
Yeah.
I would rather be at work.
You can come hang out.
Although I miss Zoe Riders. I miss Zoe's kindergarten roundup.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah. It was 5:30 Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'm at practice because we didn't get out of there until like 6:10.
Yeah.
And she didn't miss me, don't worry. But like
I would say it's one of those things that's always harder on the parent than the kid, right? In most
yeah.
of those situations.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's a new school and I kind of want to get acclimated, and she's going to a school with a fantastic principal, so I kind of want to chop it up as a principal with the principal, and she has like a restroom in her classroom, so I want to see that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's like got these cool garage doors that go up and down. You
Really?
kind of seem, yeah, like they really maximize the space. And instead of wasting a lot of money on renovations, they went very, very practical. I
Okay.
felt like it was an episode of DIY and with home improvements, and they like made it work. So it's kind of cool. Not a new. It's an old school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Prairie Lane,
They just did a little work on it.
yeah.
Okay.
So it looks pretty sweet. Got new
Nice.
playground equipment, so she's pretty tickled.
There you go.
I'm cool, man. Life is good.
Listen,
I feel like, is that future, Shane? Right? Life is good.
You in a good mood or what?
You know what I mean? Got my red bottoms on. I talked to him yesterday. He was in rare form.
Who? Coach Rhule?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How so?
My man was a little Morton's, a little salty.
A little salty?
Yeah.
A little snarkier than normal?
I think so.
So
Because he can be, I don't know that, like, if you just listen to pressers and stuff and you're not really paying a ton of attention,
yeah,
he can be a little snarkier.
so
than
did you did you
appear.
feel like he was a little surly this week?
Is it really hard to hear in here today, or is it just me?
Maybe a
Am I
little.
yelling in it?
Well, I
maybe a
told you
little.
guys when you guys had me in on, when did I call in? Yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday, I think.
Like, I feel like he gave you a good inkling on where he was at emotionally. I feel like the little snippet from Nebraska football, the Twitter account,
Yeah.
where he talked about 90%, 10%, all in. Guys will tap out. I'm rolling with the real ones.
Yeah.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah. Well, so I think he, and this is kind of one of the things I wanted to get to today was.
Are we actually staying on a schedule? Because
I mean, I'll be honest with you.
We go everywhere.
The first few weeks of this, I wrote out kind of an outline, and
you're like, yeah.
And then after
this damn DB, this dude can't focus.
Well, no, that's what I like though. I just like that we kind of go where the conversation takes us, right? It just happened to take us this time to something that that I was thinking about because we brought it up yesterday.
Yeah.
When you joined us on the morning show, and it was, you're right. I feel like he's been a little surly. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And I think he's talking directly to his team.
Yes, 100%.
I think he would have found
100%.
a way to make any question at some point a message to his team to remind them that, hey, I'm riding with the guys that are all in. And the one that really stuck out to me the most was I'm not changing who I am to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because
and he said it the week of, right? Like, hey, week of, guys, like,
yes,
I'm not changing just to win a game. I'm rolling with the real ones.
Because
not that I committed that to memory.
The way that I took that was like, hey, this isn't just a thing I'm talking about because it's the off season.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just a thing I'm talking about because right now, in terms of wins and losses, there's no stakes. Not to say that there aren't actual stakes, but there's nothing's going on your record right now, right? A lot of coaches don't have the fortitude,
intestinal,
to stick,
the gumption, the wherewithal,
the conviction, like we talked about last week, to stick to it when it's game week, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, there's this really talented guy that I've got.
You mean like not practicing a wide receiver for 3 days because you want to get him to Minnesota to be healthy, and then you make fun of the fact he warmed up with a hoodie, and then a year later he leaves and he was your best receiver?
That's a really good example, and definitely not a super specific thing that actually happened.
No doubt to me about that.
Like, you mean you kind of coddled and babied a guy,
and then
the
you're
whole
surprised
time
when he acted coddled and
who
baby?
kind of missed a lot of the summer workouts, and you said he liked music more than he liked sports, and then you knew you needed him, so you kind of gave in, and then you used him as the butt of the jokes the next year when well, probably
something like that. That's a good example of what we're talking about here.
Probably doesn't work out well.
But yeah, you've got so many coaches.
Hypothetically
speaking, you've got so many coaches that they talk the big tough talk, right? When it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, when it doesn't count. They say, oh, yeah, we want guys to act like this, and we're going to hold them accountable, and we're going to make them do this and this and this. And if you don't do these things, you're not going to play. And then guess what? In week 1, those are the guys that are playing because they're more talented.
That's some stuff that happens in like middle school and high school. It shouldn't happen at the collegiate level.
No, but it does.
Oh, no,
absolutely
zero
does.
question.
I would go out on a limb and say it happens at the professional level
zero
as well.
question that you're not spot on.
Because not very many guys are willing to take a loss knowing that they maybe could have put a guy in that could have helped him win that week, because they understand, okay, I might win one here, but it's going to cost me down the road.
So, and I know you've kind of like made a habit to crush Frost, and I'm not here to.
I make a habit to crush people that deserve it.
I'm not here to refute or to agree with. But one of the things I thought was interesting, like in the dark days, when it was about all she wrote, right? I remember him saying to me, he said, one of the things that I regret was I was so competitive early on to win that I did some things that I probably ordinarily wouldn't do in the recruiting game, where I compromised culture.
Yep.
I actually
looking at a particular running back that was
just look at those first 2 classes.
Yeah.
There's a reason those guys didn't stick around, because the vetting process was like, ooh, I'm not rolling with the real ones. I'm going high risk, high reward.
He's rolling with the star rating.
And when your culture isn't set, those guys can compromise your culture because it's not firm enough.
Yeah.
Right. It's like putting. You ever been around those people and they're like, hey man, do you like scallions? Yeah, just a little though, because they can they can change the taste of everything, or
kind of overwhelm the flavor.
Or hey, do you like such and such? And it's like, yeah, blue cheese.
Yeah,
blue cheese is a perfect example. Yep. Hey, do you like blue cheese? Yeah, a little, because
that's how I'm with jalapenos.
Too much is blank.
They overwhelm the dish. Yeah.
When you go out of your way to like compromise yourself and your culture's not set, those concessions that you make are like blue cheese.
Yeah.
They'll totally take over.
It'll be the only thing you taste.
Yeah. And that's really what happens. So conversely, with Rhule, and I still haven't like probably put it together like some wordsmith that some people think I'm not. You thought I was going to say some people think I am. There's just, this is the 3rd week in a row I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it again. There's something about Coach Rhule's personality where he's willing to walk away from the table and be like, oh, okay, are we done here? We good? And I'll get up and go. And you're going to sit there and you're going to be thinking, this dude just left.
What just happened?
Hey,
if you're the one still sitting at the table, you think, what just happened?
Yeah. He
said
he wanted disagreement. Like we shook. Like we had a deal.
Yeah.
But you still know he cares.
He's willing to give up what he wants now for what he wants most.
Oh, so I think I asked you the question, or maybe it was AR-15 when I said, of the Wager, Miles Farmer, his delivery talking about Brody, talking about, or there was one more. It was a departure. Oh, Fleeks. Sending Fleeks to the house.
Yep.
Right? Which, by the way, how Fleeks got in shape in 3 days, I have no idea.
There's some of those dudes that put on and take off 20 pounds.
Yeah,
I don't get it. James Harden's like that too. That dude will look like he is.
Do we still know if that was a fat suit or not?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm confused too. But I said, which one of these messages that he sent that are all the same kind of message, but happened for different reasons? With Brody, it was, hey, man, we're really going to miss him. Oh, by the way, he was in an accident. Gonna hurt. Can't wait for next year. Well, next man up.
Yeah.
Josh Fleeks. Man, guy I've known. Been in with the program. He knows me. Came in overweight. I mean, basically fat shamed a guy. There was Wager. I brought this dude in specifically to help me with the Texas pipeline routes. Zero tolerance. Not having it.
Yeah.
He's out. Or Miles Farmer, which Miles Farmer was the one I would have picked.
Okay.
Like if I would have asked which, and most people, I think most people I asked said Wager.
Yeah. It's one of those two for sure for me.
Do you know why I felt like it was Farmer?
Why is that?
This is no inside info.
Yeah.
I just gauged his body language. He was the most disappointed.
And that's what he chose to do.
To explain. He sounded the most disappointed. He's like, hey, what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do? And it's just like, I felt like Farmer hurt him the most. And it made me the most upset with the fan base, which I'm pretty patient with because, I'm not going to tell you how to fan. There are some things I think that are disappointing, but 98% of the people in this state or that I meet across the country are good to me. So how am I going to tell you how to behave when I'm the beneficiary of your passion?
And genuinely, they want the best for the program.
But the handling of the Miles Farmer thing pissed me off.
Yeah.
It's just too dismissive. Oh, he was this and he was that and he wasn't going to be good anyway, yada, yada, yada. And we rationalized it. And everybody told me, oh, that's just what fans do. When he's not ours, he's blah, blah, blah. When he is. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? So is the second man getting caught. Doesn't make it right.
Sure.
It's that we tell the narrative so much. We build in a, oh, okay. I'll condone, even though it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So stop saying that fans are just fanning when they're dismissive of a player leaving because that's what fans do. It's disingenuous and it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
And you're not telling the truth, right? Because Ty Robinson is here for year one of Rhule, he's going to all of a sudden be better than he was last year when we were clowning him. But because Miles Farmer's leaving, he's not
trash anyway.
He's not going to be better.
Right.
Like it doesn't make any sense.
There's not a logical consistency to it.
Yeah. So, and I know fan is short for fanatic, but fan doesn't have to be short for stupid.
Those letters don't match up.
They don't. I can be over the top passionate.
Sure, absolutely.
But it doesn't mean I lack logic.
See that?
Like that's just irrational to think. So it was very bothersome. But it wasn't bothersome because I felt like I'm mad at the fans for how they handled it. I'm cool with that. Like I said, man, they scratched my back a ton.
Sure.
I love the state, right? I was upset because I felt like as a kind of a quasi empath, I felt like I felt for Coach Rhule because Farmer gave him pushback from the jump, but he wanted to like Farmer.
He wanted to reach him. He wanted to bring him around.
He wanted to get to Miles. And remember,
those are the most disappointing ones, right?
Dude, my man's had Josh Anderson, who's the sack machine in Philly. Like,
yeah, Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those guys have been kicked off before.
Sure, yeah.
Wanted to leave, been mad. And he let him back because what did he say? The non-negotiables are hurting people weaker than you. So he's not going to be cool with petties. Pedophiles. I don't mean pedicures.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever. It's 2023. It's a podcast. I can say that, right? Liquid, we good?
You can say whatever you want, Dan.
At least once, right?
Absolutely.
He's not going to be cool with
Like crimes
people
against women,
hurting women,
about that.
the elderly. He's not.
Yeah.
Those are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Now, and apparently, driving with open containers is non-negotiable too. But that's neither here nor there. But for the most part, if you're conciliatory,
he's a second chance guy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. A lot like you in that sense.
Yeah. Which is why I kind of vibe with him.
Sure. I mean, for among other reasons.
Right.
It's probably the one thing that not the one thing, but one of the things that you and I disagree on the most.
Oh yeah. You're a lot more hard line with that stuff than I am.
And I'm willing to give second chances. Lord knows I've needed second chances myself. But there's certain guys where I just get to a point where I'm like, he's not changing.
Yeah.
And you take way longer to get to that point.
I know,
if you
man.
Ever do.
Listen, it's caused.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
No,
that's the difference.
And I don't really know, right? Yeah. Like sometimes it's caused plenty of contentious moments in my household.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right. Where it's, this coach said this at this school, and you know how he feels about you. Why are you allowing yourself to get ran over? I've heard it, man.
Sure.
I know all the, or this former boss of yours said this, and then here you are. I've heard it all, man. Right? Like maybe I'm getting ran over. Maybe I'm a fool. My defense mechanism is to say, oh, man, I'm one of those guys that likes him a lot more than he likes me. Because the more that I say that, it lets me off the hook to know if I'm being played a fool.
Sure. Yeah. It's like
hey, that's deep, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a deep cut, right? That's what I tell myself. This probably isn't true now because it turns out I think Matt DeMarinis does like me. But I used to always say that about
Dude, DeMarinis loves you.
I used to always say that about Maddie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I like this or Robin Washut, and that's weird that I use those two in the same example, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It's my defense mechanism in case you're talking about me behind my back because I'm
you're hedging your bet, basically.
Right? So the thing that I love about Rhule is he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not a bet hedger.
Yeah.
And
he says, this is where I am.
And he's willing to deal with the consequences.
He's willing to get beat up a little bit.
So that's the adult me now. Like that's kind of how I am now. I'm not all the way there, but remember, I typically gravitate towards the personality traits in other people. Mm-hmm. Not maybe that I exude, but the ones that I want.
Yeah, we talked about this with Bud last week.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
He exudes a lot of the things.
The ones that I want.
Yes. Yeah.
Where I'm like, I would enjoy spending time around you because I think in this particular capacity, you could make me better. And I think I'm strong. I am secure enough now to know that I'm not going to pick up on your bad habits.
Yeah.
I'm with you for the things that I want to glean from you where I want to get better. That doesn't mean that I have to believe in the other stuff that you do either.
Because most people that you come across, whether they're football players like Matt Rhule's dealing with, whether just people in your life like we're dealing with, you're not going to have people that are all good or all bad, right? That's not how people work. People are not, ironically, black and white. Like they're not. Most people live in the
brown
gray.
And light brown, right?
Right. See, look at us. We're just different shades.
I already know it.
Most people live in the gray, right? There's some good, there's some bad. Some are darker gray, some are lighter gray. I'm more willing when I see somebody that's edging toward a section of the gray or a shade of the gray that I'm not interested in to go ahead and cut that loose. Right. And you see, it's still gray though.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of one of the.
So you know what that is, though? It's a lot of coaching because there are some players that you get, especially at the middle school,
and I think lower age, from coaching too,
and high school level, where it's like, I know there's something else in there. Mm-hmm. You're not quite the finished product where I want you to be, but I know. So you hang in there.
And see, I coached high school 1 year, and then I coached college after that, and I know that college kids aren't finished products, but there were enough times that I got burned by it that I was like, okay, if I see these patterns, I probably am not wanting to emotionally invest.
Yeah. Wow.
Because chances are I'm going to get burned again.
Chances are.
And I don't have the energy for that. You're just being totally honest, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to get burned again after emotionally investing in someone else. And so I honestly admire people that are willing to give chances longer than I am, because again, that's kind of an attribute that I almost wish I had. But I just can't see past, and maybe it's because of, what I do for a living in risk management. Like,
you're an analysis guy.
I can't get, like, if you reach a critical mass for me in terms of red flags or behavior or whatever it is, it's like, I can't come back from there.
Okay. So I understand that though, because I am a guy that says, listen, 90% of the time, past behavior is going to be the best barometer for future
it's predictive a lot of times.
success. But I am a second chance person. So that's the gray in me, because I've been a guy that needed another chance that is maximized with it, right? So I'm very tentative to hardline. And Shane, I know you're playing the music game at home. Yes, I did. People are people. That's Depeche Mode. Chances are could be Johnny
Depeche
Mathis.
Mode's awesome. I love some Depeche
It's
Mode.
also your girl Martina McBride and Bob Seger. That's chances are. So like I know that I'm diversifying.
You're playing the hits.
We can't play music, so it kind of sucks. But listen, I deal with what I got to do. But
is it really hard to hear in here?
Yes, Coach, it is. So, and it's funny because, and I'm gonna get back to some things that I think really matter with what he said in his presser about his delivery. But I told you how when we had the sit down, and instead of him saying, "I don't like this seating arrangement in the weight room,"
okay,
right?
Yeah,
we moved the weight benches because he wanted to sit down. His knee was really bad because he hurt it in pickleball. And instead of just saying, because it's our deal, right? He's helping me out, so he wanted to give me some autonomy.
Yeah.
He goes, so what is that? He said, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. So what do you mean? He said, here, sit down, say something to me. He said, say something to me.
Yeah.
So I talked to him. He said, I said, how does that feel? I said, I don't know. You're kind of at a weird angle. He said, try it this way. So we moved the things around. He sat down. He said, how do you like that? I said, oh, I like this better. He says, you want to sit like this? I said, yeah, we can sit like this. Instead of just telling me, we had to go through the formalities of giving me some ownership to make the decision.
Sure.
If I didn't like it, he would go with it, but he's letting me know.
Like, hey, don't love how this set up.
Yeah. He's letting me know, hey, this isn't good for us. Like, if you choose to do this, that's on you. But I'm letting you know, this isn't the best way. This isn't the best way to operate.
That's really interesting.
No, it's 100% how he is, though. Instead of just telling, because I've told you the stories, right? Players will jump, they'll clap back at Tommy Hill early on, right? And he'd say to T Hill, he'd be like, "Girl, I'm not going to go into character, but it would be something like this. Look, man, like I've been here before. Like I've coached in the league. I've rebuilt programs. I've reshaped images. Like, what do you want to fight with me for?
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm doing. You should want to be on my team.
Yeah.
Why would you fight with what I'm doing when we both have the same goal for you?
Yeah.
Anyway, it'd be this awkward silence.
Just let you sit in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, why would you be arguing with me? So you don't have any choice but to want to come around. That's the push myself away from the table deal.
Yeah.
Right? He's not dismissive of Maverick Noonan's injury. He's not dismissive of Brody Tagovailoa's injury. He's not dismissive of Xavier Betts' injury. This is what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
These are the decisions that have gone into this. What's next? How do we handle it from here?
Where do we go from here?
Man, now that all the children are growing up, I don't know who sings that song, but that's another song. I know the other one's off the top. Where do we go from here? Is that Alan Parsons' project, Shane?
Are you serious?
Is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah. He sings serious too.
Is it? Is that who it is?
I don't know, but that's who they say.
Listen, okay, I'm done. Like, you just push the buttons back here. I'm not messing with you anymore.
Not
All
messing
right, it's
with
great to see everybody. Thank you, guys.
Exactly. I'm out. So it's like,
So that's a really, the reason I find that interesting is because a lot of coaches, especially at a high level, and when they come in with a track record of being successful, and obviously Matt Rhule has that, especially at the college level, they have a tendency to be very much like my way or the highway, right?
Especially as alphas, right?
Yes, and most coaches are.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to be in order to be successful at that. But to be an alpha, if you will, but also use another word you used earlier, an empath, is a really unique combination because they don't often go together.
Right.
And so if we're going with the assumption that Matt Rhule is both an alpha in the sense that like he's a leader, but he's also an empath in that he understands that people receive things differently, then that would explain a lot of the way we see him approach situations, right? Because he can go to a Tommy Hill, for example, like you were saying, and say, hey, I want what's best for you. What has been happening for you hasn't been working, right? Let's look at what's happened. You transfer here, didn't work out the first stop, hasn't really worked out here so far. You're not really getting on the field. Okay, so that's where you're at right now. Let's go look at my track record as Coach Matt Rhule and see what I've done and see what's worked. Okay, do we both have the same end goal for you? We want you to be successful here at the University of Nebraska. We want you to have a chance to play at the next level. Okay, that's what everybody wants here. So your way hasn't worked yet. Let's try my way, right? It's the same thing with the seating arrangement.
Yeah.
Like, hey, doesn't feel like this arrangement, the way we're sitting right now, is working. Let's try it my way and see if you like it better. Because we both have the same goal, right?
Yeah, he said, how does this feel to you?
Right?
Do you like that?
Because
I'm like, what are we doing?
In the seating arrangement, you both are at the same goal of having a really good
just
conversation.
Want to shoot the breeze.
Making, for you guys, really good content, right? Tommy Hill situation, it's the same goal. If everybody has the same goal and that's the direction you approach it from, then it's much easier to get people to agree. And that's probably why the Miles Farmer thing hurts him more, right? Because he does want the best for Miles Farmer.
And again, I don't know 100%, right? Because he's assuming some risk on all of it, right? Where you bring in a high school guy, you got a fairly talented tight end room, you got a tight end from Martin, right? Where that was his coach. Like, you know what you're doing if you get rid of that guy, right? You got Fedoni and Borgature, and you got to somehow be able to get to Gilbert. Like, you got, like, that's an important room, right?
Especially considering the questions in
the
wide receiver room.
So he's got some skin in the game,
Tight
right? Because you could get the Buddy Hire pushback and all that, right? Brody didn't tell us early on. He kind of, by the way, it, and then he revisited it this week, right, where he went to the season-ending injuries. I just felt like in all his deliveries, Miles was the one that bugged him the most, because I think he prides himself on somebody that can, at the end of the day, I mean, he can get through to almost anybody.
Yeah, well, because that's how he's made his bones in coaching, right?
Like,
by building relationships. So when he feels like he wasn't able to do that with somebody, I'm sure it's not the first time, but generally people that are genuinely good at building relationships and aren't just kind of schmoozing to schmooze, it hurts them when they're not able to connect with someone.
Yeah. So like when he says, well, everybody wants to play as a freshman until you have to prepare to play as a freshman, right? There's a lot of things going on with distractions, and he's laying that groundwork. Well, he's not talking to me.
No,
he's not talking.
I'm not playing as a freshman.
He's not talking to you, right?
Yeah,
he explains it how he knows how to explain it,
and he's talking to those people that talk big.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want to do, man. But are you really willing to pay the price?
So there's this there's this line in the Last Dance documentary where Roy Williams, who was an assistant in North Carolina when Michael Jordan was there, is talking about Michael Jordan as a freshman. And Michael Jordan was talking all this big talk about how he wants to be the greatest player that ever comes through North Carolina. And he's like, okay, well, you're going to have to work a lot harder. And Michael Jordan says, I work as hard as everybody else. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you want to be the greatest player that ever played North Carolina. Not as good as everybody else, right?
Yep.
There's the difference. A lot of freshmen.
And he told you about the next 2 weeks as they transpire with Jordan at Carolina, how he kicked it up a notch.
Yes, and then the rest of his life, I'm pretty sure no one worked harder than him in the rest of his basketball life, right?
So it's funny. Funny. Go ahead. Go ahead, over Liquid.
Did they ever bring up who the person before him was, the greatest player to come through North Carolina?
I mean, it's open to discussion. Phil Ford. I mean, he was playing with Sam Perkins at the time. It was James Worthy's team.
Yeah.
They had a ton of great players. But listen, so here's the funny thing. When you try to tell, this goes back to the high school rigor and willing to go through it. I've been saying this happens in my own household with my oldest son. This happens with our team. Doesn't matter what school I'm at. The barometer isn't current or relative to what anybody else is doing. The barometer is relative to what you're capable of doing.
Yes.
So
what does your 100%
if you're
like?
not the best version of yourself, you're not getting it done.
Then you're failing.
I don't care if we're playing Papio, if we're playing Millard North,
Yeah.
if I'm playing FSU, if I'm in a preseason game against Pittsburgh, right? If I'm not the best version of myself, it doesn't work.
For sure.
And that's what I think. You're not trying to be the best player on your team. You're trying to be the best you can be, which is why he can say the phrase, Robbie. Just so we're on the same page. If you're one of those guys that is complaining about what unit you're on, you're the worst. You're the worst teammate out there. It's not only disrespectful to your current teammates, you're not maximizing. Oh man, I'm running with the 2s, man. That's why I'm a 2. Or I'm running with the 1s. That's why I'm a 1. Really? How does that relate to being the best version of yourself?
Yeah.
I put that thing on loop. You know, I'm a weird shower dude, right? Like I'm playing that 2-minute and 13-second clip over and over and over again because it's not just sports.
Yeah.
It's life. Oh, man. Look at this building they got us in.
I want to hear some dude say, I'm running with the 2s and be all in that.
Look at this hole in the wall they got us in, man. How are we supposed to function like this? Hey, listen. Stay away from those people.
Yeah.
I always say environments don't make people. People make environments.
Yeah.
Just because you live in the ghetto doesn't mean you have to be ghetto.
Sure. I think Depeche Mode said it too.
People are people?
Yeah.
Shut your face, Shane. Shut your face. Right? Like,
yeah.
So I love this week's pressers.
Yeah, there was good stuff there this week.
Oh, hey, so I like the suggested question. So I didn't see Xavier Betts out there. Oh, no, Xavier wasn't out there with us today.
Do you have an actual question, or you just kind of
right? Hey, so was Malachi Coleman out there? No, Malachi didn't practice. No. Care to elaborate? No. You didn't ask me anything.
We're good here.
You didn't ask me anything. Hey, coach. So who are some of those receivers that are kind of stepping up? Well, that's a question he can go in depth on.
Yep.
Right? No, Jalen Lloyd or Jaden Doss or whatever. Right? Yep. Like
Alex Bullock keeps coming up.
You guys know how I feel about Alex Bullock, right?
Yep.
And I get it. I mean, AB head tapped us a couple times in high school too, where I was like, damn, this dude can go get it. Right? Like head tap. Like I get it, but. And I said this to you guys the other day. He's such a terrible liar. He stays in his zone. He stays in his lane.
Yeah.
He's not going to make it up.
He may just not tell you anything else.
No, so I didn't call him by name the other day because I'm not trying to compromise, my ability to watch practice when I want to watch practice,
sure.
Right? But Tommy Hill was the guy that he took a picture of when he had suspended him early. And he's like, who's the new guy? Right? Remember he's at practice. He takes the picture.
Yeah, he was the new guy in the group
in
here.
spring ball.
Yep.
You have to have a pretty good relationship if you're going to go there with a guy, right?
Absolutely.
But Tommy Hill still had some room to grow. Still has room to grow currently, like as of today. They're doing a tackling drill the other day, and Of course, Coach Rhule wants to hop in. He had just played offensive line, a full grass field over. Listen, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I'm dead dog serious. My man comes bebopping over. He sprints over. He wants to see the tackling drill, right? It's like sudden change, and they're transitioning the drill, and he's watching. Hey, T Hill, man, understand leverage, man. Don't give me that short arm crap. Don't give me that short arm crap, man. Leverage, man. Where's your safety coming from? Where's the corner? And T Hill gives him a thumbs up, and a little finger tap like to his helmet, like, "Hey, man, I got you.
I see you." Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I almost fell down. Man, listen, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I almost fell. If the grass wasn't so wet, I may have fallen out. But it was crappy out. I didn't feel like being wet.
Cleaning yourself up.
But I had watched him have to deal with all those guys at the previous staff.
Mm-hmm.
And the pushback, whether it was Frost or Chins or Mickey or whomever else, I'm like, man, I watched him pout when he couldn't bring the ball out of the end zone in a game before, and I was mad. I was like, stop showing your teammate. This dude is grown, man. Like, and I don't know what kind of player he's going to be. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh man, pencil him in. I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, as a person,
he's grown.
He's grown, and that's the culture.
Well, and obviously there's a talent level there with Tommy Hill, right?
Yeah, he's extremely gifted.
And so I think people make the conclusion that, okay, if the talent level's there and he appears to have grown as a person,
put it all together.
There's a decent chance. And what I like about the Tommy Hill situation that I think is kind of emblematic of the larger culture in the program is that picture in spring was not a private moment.
No,
right? That was made
public. That was on blast.
That was made public. He kind of put Tommy Hill on blast there.
He put him on 99th in front.
But
or is
now,
it Fort?
I have no idea.
Was it Fort Street?
Front Street.
Front Street. He put my man on Front Street.
Now, fast forward to fall when Tommy Hill's having a good camp, and what's one of the first names out of Matt Rhule's mouth when Tommy Hill's playing well? When Tommy Hill's
I'm all the way
making strides. When he uses Tommy Hill as an example of, oh, this guy's come so far. Mm-hmm. As far as what we want in our program, does that go along the lines of him saying, "Oh man, I'm rolling with the real ones." Yeah, that's not for
I'm not changing for week one.
That's not for our benefit.
Yeah,
that's to let Tommy Hill know, like, hey, when things don't go well,
I appreciate you hanging it. Yeah.
When things are going well, you're going to hear about it too.
100%.
And that's something a lot of not just coaches but people miss, right? Really easy to put it out there when things aren't going well, when things are not going the way you want them to, right? People tend to forget about it on the flip side when it's time to give praise to somebody, when it's time to lift somebody up and say, hey, this guy's doing exactly what I want him to do.
See, that's the beauty with common language too. Sometimes it's not just to hold you accountable. Sometimes it's edifying too. Like it can build you up.
And I think when you get to a point where you want to be, it's edifying more than it's accountability, right? It's building you up.
Yeah.
When you get to the point you want to be, right? At first, it's a lot of accountability, right? It's kind of forging in the fire, right? Because accountability doesn't always feel good.
Oh.
But once you get through it,
thanks.
Once you get to the other side, you're still going to have some of the accountability that say, we got a little bit of this, got to clean this up. But it's a lot about building up. All the common language saying like, hey, this is the thing we care about. This is the thing you're doing. Well done, right? It's a whole different ballgame. But that common language you're talking about, it's the building blocks of both of them.
What was the catalyst? What made you think that something was a little different this week? Just week 2, the drudgery, the dorms, like what?
I honestly, the thing
body language.
It was just hearing him talk about stuff, hearing Rhule talk about riding with the real ones, and the thing that stuck out to me, the thing that I came in here wanting to talk about was, I'm not changing who I am to win games.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's the thing that I took away the most from this week. And I was like, got to talk to DB about that.
So it's funny because we've seen some previous coaches succumb to it, right?
Yeah.
We saw Riley didn't really like the general manager, the hireship, the pressure, morph the current offense, implement a new one, TA is who I've got. Do I stay running QB? I go study. It's weird, but Bo with getting acclimated to the Big Ten coming out of the Big 12, he had to get by, so he didn't start to lay the kind of. It is, and I gave the Frost exam. I mean,
here's the most interesting thing about it to me is I think if you really put him on gave him some truth serum, he'll say that he did change a little to try and win in Carolina. I bet he would tell you that.
Yeah, because of the transactional part of that business, right? Who's making the money, who's not? Yeah. What does my GM say?
It seemed like he felt like because of the situation, because of the NFL, that there were things he couldn't do the way he wanted in Carolina. And I bet if you really put him to it, he would tell you there were times where I did change who I was in the week to try and win the game. And I think because of that, he will never do it again.
Oh, I'm going to let you ask him that question. I'm not going there.
I don't have that kind of relationship with him
I'm just saying.
Maybe we'll get out there on the pickleball court. I can ask him in passing.
Yeah, do you really think you could get him in pickleball?
I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Well, here's what we need to do. I'll teach you how to play pickleball. You and me will go
out
I'm
there. Not good.
We'll get out there. You're athletic, so we'll be all right. And then we'll get him and an assistant. We'll have a little Hurrdat Sports versus Nebraska football pickleball match.
I probably just have to put it out there as competitive as he is.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm not good, so you'll be carrying me. I'll be like those guys on Fortnite when the kids play. Oh, you're carried. Listen, hey, man, listen, carry me.
We'll get some reps in. You're a natural athlete. We'll be okay.
What do they call those guys on the game that don't do anything? NPCs. They just kind of walk. I'm an NPC, man.
You'll be all right. You're a good athlete. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't let me fool you.
That is another edition of Dish and Ish. Good stuff as always. We will see you again next week.
Be a real one.